Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Levin, Ranking Member Camp, and members of the committee. Thank you for inviting me to testify today. I'm going to focus in my oral remarks on the energy proposals in the President's fiscal year 2011 budget. First, I will briefly discuss the administration's overall environmental and energy policy in order to provide some context for the energy proposals in the budget. The administration believes that our nation must build a new, clean energy economy, curb our dependence on fossil fuels, limit emission of greenhouse gases, and make America more energy independent. It is no longer sufficient to address our nation's energy needs solely by finding more fossil fuels. Instead, we must take dramatic steps toward becoming a clean energy economy. These include encouraging the use of and investment in clean energy infrastructure and energy-efficient technologies. The Recovery Act, and I thank the committee for its leadership on the Recovery Act, took an important step in that direction, providing more than $80 billion for investment in clean energy technologies. The energy provisions in there are a real success story in the Recovery Act. The administration's budget takes us further by investing in a variety of renewable sources of electricity generation, energy conservation measures, supporting the construction of new nuclear power plants, advancing the development of carbon capture and storage technologies, and providing federal assistance for state clean energy and energy conservation programs. The President has also called on Congress to invest in a new Homestar program of rebates for consumers who make energy-efficient retrofits. In addition to direct investments in clean energy, the administration's budget proposes a comprehensive, market-based policy to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from 2005 levels by approximately 17% in 2020 and by more than 80% in 2050. The policy will provide businesses the flexibility to find the least costly and most efficient ways of achieving greenhouse gas emission reductions and address the needs of vulnerable families, communities, and businesses in the course of the transition to a clean energy economy. With this background, let me turn briefly to the tax-related provisions in our budget relating to energy. Current law provides a number of credits and deductions that are targeted towards oil, gas, and coal activities. These tax subsidies are not designed to correct an existing distortion or market failure and therefore lead to an overallocation of investment resources to these industries and an underallocation of resources to others. This distortion in resource allocation results in inefficiency and generally reduced economic growth. Moreover, the tax subsidies for fossil fuels must ultimately be financed with taxes and thus further result in underinvestment in other potentially more productive areas of the economy. Further, in accordance with the President's agreement at the G20 summit in Pittsburgh to phase out subsidies for fossil fuels so we can transition to a 21st energy economy, the budget proposes to repeal a number of tax preferences that are currently available for fossil fuels. The budget also proposes to limit the ability of taxpayers to claim a foreign tax credit for levies that are likely to represent a payment for the right to exploit natural resources rather than a payment of an income tax, and proposes as well to reinstate the Superfund excise taxes, including the taxes on crude oil and imported petroleum products. The budget also proposes to extend through 2011 a number of expired or expiring tax provisions related to energy, including incentives for biofuel, renewable diesel, alternative fuels, and alcohol fuels, increased tax credits for alternative fuel refueling property, tax credits for hybrid automobiles and other alternative motor vehicles, tax credits for energy-efficient new homes, and tax credits for energy-efficient improvements to existing homes. Finally, the budget proposes to expand the Recovery Act tax credit for investments in advanced energy manufacturing facilities. The credit, under Section 48 Cap C of the Code, is designed to help America take the lead in the manufacture of wind turbines, solar panels, electric vehicles, and other clean energy and energy conservation projects. The Treasury Department and the Department of Energy, as Mr. Matt Rogers will go into more detail, cooperated in awarding the $2.3 billion of credits authorized by the Recovery Act, awarding credits to 183 projects in 43 states to support tens of thousands of high-quality clean energy jobs and the development of a domestic clean energy manufacturing base. The $2.3 billion cap on the credit has resulted in the funding of less than one-third of the technically acceptable applications that we received. The budget proposes an additional $5 billion in credits that would support at least $15 billion in total capital investment, creating a partnership between the government and the private sector and creating tens of thousands of new construction and manufacturing jobs. Because there is already an existing group of worthy projects and substantial interest in this, the additional credit could be deployed quickly to create jobs and support economic activity. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my prepared remarks. I will be pleased to answer any questions you or other members of the committee may have.